after 15 years of research. An associate professor at Utah State University is finding that polluted dust may be negatively affecting some of the county's most remote lakes. ABC4's Northern Utah correspondent Cade Garner has the details.
Remote mountain lakes are often considered to have some of the most pristine water in the world, but the dust we're kicking up could be changing that. As that dust lands on the water, it may potentially be feeding toxic algae.
So we may have reached a tipping point in these particular areas.
For years, Dr. Janice Brahney has been collecting dust samples from 30 locations across the western United States to learn more about what's in it and how it affects mountain lakes.
More than half the global population relies on water from mountain systems.
She says lakes tucked away in the mountains, often far from people, may be becoming more susceptible to toxic algal blooms.
Algae are really wonderful indicators of ecosystem change.
She says over the last century and a half, as industry, agriculture, and the population have grown, humans have changed the soil's composition. That soil can become airborne, eventually landing in mountain lakes and increasing algae. Other environmental scientists are eager to learn more about Brahney's findings.
I find the approach to be pretty robust.
Remember the 30 dust sample locations? Researchers use that dust to see how algae interacts with it, and they're finding that toxic algae thrives when the dust is introduced because it's full of nutrients.
If you're in a pristine environment, it might have really different consequences, potentially even a mild positive consequence to have this kind of dust deposition. However, for most water bodies, this is another additional source of nutrients that could make those algal blooms more intense and last longer.
Brahney says the Great Salt Lake, particularly Farmington Bay, is a great example of this.
Through the summer, as that water recedes, all of these compounds and heavy metals and then now toxins end up in the sediments of the playa. And because it's not super salty, a salt crust doesn't form very effectively, and that material is easily eroded.
She says this can lead to blowing dust, which isn't great to breathe in. But it's not just human health that this dust could be impacting.
Because it's so heavily fed by wastewater treatment and high nutrients, it tends to have everything that comes out of the wastewater treatment plant, including the nutrients that lead to toxic algal blooms.
Reporting from Logan, Cade Garner, ABC4 News.